Home opener Friday night against the Chicago Bulls. This episode, we're going to discuss injury updates, potential lineups for both the Washington Wizards and the Chicago Bulls, and my four keys to victory. Next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again. And my dude, the real Ed Oliver, is off tonight. He was so happy about the last win against the Pacers, he needed another night to celebrate. Thanks for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by Bet Online, where the game starts. So, everybody, as you know or should know, home opener is Friday night against the Chicago Bulls. Now, let's start with the question I have for everybody. Now, go ahead and comment below and let's get some dialogue rolling. My question for everybody is, will the Washington Wizards capitalize with all the injuries that the Chicago Bulls have to gain a victory this Friday night? Now, let's slide right into the injury updates. Now, Deni and KP are both a go for Friday night against the Chicago Bulls, which is good news for the Washington Wizards. As you know, Deni Avdija had a high ankle sprain. It looked serious. It was the same leg that was hurt in his rookie season, but he progressed so fast that he said that he was available for the last minutes of the Pacers game. So he's good to go. KP dealt with an ankle injury during shoot around. So we're on the clear with both of these guys. So that is good news. And obviously, Corey Kispert is out 4 to 6 weeks. But looking at the Chicago Bulls, two significant injuries. Lonzo Ball is already out, but Zach LaVine is out for Friday night's Washington Wizards, which is good news for the Wizards. That is, Zach LaVine is a huge scoring threat. So looking at the injury report, like I said, the Chicago Bulls, two significant injuries, Lonzo Ball, point, and Zach LaVine in the two guard. Now, sliding into the potential lineups. Starting with the Washington Wizards, this is the potential starting lineup. And it really emulates against the Indiana Pacers. At point guard, you're looking at Monte Morris, two guard Bradley Beal. At the three, and this could be subject to change, considering he just came back from a high ankle sprain. But I am pretty sure we're going to see Deni at the three, Kuz at the four, and KP at the five. Now, if you're looking at the second unit, DeLon Wright will slide in, backing up Monte Morris. I see Will Barton at the two, backing up Bill. I see Rui at the three, Gill at the four, backing up Kuz, and Gaff bringing up the five on the second unit. I think this is a good lineup both on the starting end and on the bench. Monte Morris, he's going to distribute the ball. Bill, Kuz, KP all showed out. High volumes of scoring. Deni, before he got injured, his defense was on point. And I mean, the starting lineup, I think, is good to go. Like I said, and we're going to get more in depth when we talk about the potential lineups for the Chicago Bulls, but they're dealing with a lot of injuries. So I think this is a perfect game for Bradley, Bill, Kuz, and KP to show out. And looking at the bench, I'm a big fan of DeLon Wright and Will Barton in the backcourt for the second unit. DeLon Wright, defense was on point, three-point shot. Defensive prowess, the effort. Will Barton, creating his own shot, his playmaking skills, his shot. They both played very well on the bench unit. Rui had a kind of a slow game. I see him picking it up. I see because he is that scoring piece on the second unit to take the pressure off of Will Barton and DeLon Wright. Anthony Gill bringing up the four. He's not the most exciting player to watch, but he will get the job done. So, and of course, Gaff, high energy, high intensity, Daniel Gafford. He was rocking. I'm telling you, he was rocking. Now, he's got a good matchup coming up, but we're going to get into the pitching lineups in a minute for Chicago Bulls. But like I said, big fan of the starting unit. I think this is going to be a good starting unit going forward. In the case of Deni Avdija, I think it's a perfect position for him because he has elite defense and he's not expected to carry a lot of the offensive burden. Bill's there, Kuz is there, KP, you got your top three scorers right there. So you're not expecting too many points from Deni. So this is the perfect time to one, utilize his defensive skills, and two, give him an opportunity to kind of get his shot working. So I think the starting unit is solid. And same with the second unit. DeLon Wright and Will Barton in the backcourt. That's a good backcourt for the second unit. Rui, like I said, I see him making that step forward as far as scoring this game. Anthony Gill, he's going to do the hard stuff, the the blue collar stuff, rebounds, effort. He's just, like I said, he's not a flashy player, but he gets the job done. And of course, Gaff. Gaff is going to do his thing. So sliding over to the Chicago Bulls. Now, as you know, Lonzo Ball is out and starting at the point guard in his place, and I'm probably butchering his name, Dasamu. Dasamu, it will be starting. He is a pesky guard who can score, who can drive. He's got some speed. So he's going to be an assignment for Monte Morris. Two guard, Alex Caruso, formerly of the Los Angeles Lakers. Again, a pesky guard who can defend and who can shoot from behind the arc. So while they're not the flashiest big name backcourt, they will get the job done and they will demand some attention. DeMar DeRozan at the three. Mid-range DeMar DeRozan, sorry. Good scorer, can play defense, shoot the mid-range, and his three-point shot is better than you think. So he doesn't shoot a lot of them, but he can shoot the three. So again, Deni, this is a good matchup for Deni. It's going to show where Denny's at. This is a team that we need to beat. The Chicago Bulls are one of those teams that are going to be in our way if we have aspirations on the 8th to the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference, the very loaded Eastern Conference. At the 4 is Patrick Williams. Again, a 4 who can defend, shoot behind the arc, rebound. And at the 5, Vucevic. On their bench unit, 3 main names come out. Dragic, Kobe White, and Andre Drummond. Now, Dragic and Kobe White, obviously, DeLon Wright and Will Barton will be their assignments. So, I'm very interested to see how they play against Dragic and Kobe White, who are both very pesky guards who have speed, who can play. Andre Drummond on the bench unit for Chicago is intriguing. And again, that matchup with Gaff is must-see TV. So, this is a measuring stick game for this team. This is the measuring stick game for the Washington Wizards because, again, the Chicago Bulls are a team that they have to beat if they seriously have aspirations on the 8th to the 6th seed. But before we move on to my keys to victory, today's episode is brought to you by Bet Online. BetOnline.net is your number one source for betting football and the start of the new basketball season. It's my go-to. Find all the latest player developments, team matchups, news, podcasts, and in-depth analysis on every game. And as always, BetOnline remains your continued source for all your sports wagering information with live betting and up-to-the-minute scores for every sport out there. The fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite games and events, including Major League Baseball, MMA, boxing, and the National Basketball Association. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts. It is also brought to you by Game to Game. Thanks for making Locked On Wizards your first listen today. That makes your second listen Game to Game Eastern Conference. Every moment, every top performance, every result. Locked On Game to Game covers every game from across the Eastern Conference with local analysis that only Locked On can deliver. Follow Game to Game on Locked On Eastern Conference. Available on Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get podcasts. So moving on. My keys to victory. All right. Number 1, ball movement. Ball movement was good. Ball movement was key. And it's something that I want to see continued in this game against the Chicago Bulls. Again, Chicago is a defensive-minded team. So ball movement, it has to be key. We have to get the ball rolling fast. We have to find these open shooters that better utilize our shooters, such as Barton, Kuz, and Bill. We have to find the open shot. So for us to be successful, in my opinion, ball movement has to be one of the keys if we want a victory. 2, 3-point shooting. Against the Indiana Pacers, we shot 35%. We need to keep that rolling. Again, this is a defensive-minded team. And in order for us to open up the lane for Bradley, Bill, for Kuz to drive, and for Gaff and KP to eat, we need to shoot from a high percentage behind the arc. So that is a big key to victory. Keeping the 3-point shooting rocking. 3, pushing the tempo. I expect Monte Morris to push the tempo and catch this defense off guard. Transition offense. We talked a lot about transition defense being something that we need to work on. Transition offense is something that I expect to see. Pushing the pace, pushing the tempo. That's why Monte is here. That's why Spencer Dinwiddie's not. We need to push the tempo. Pushing the tempo, one catches the defense off guard, unbalanced, out of position. So push the tempo. It's going to open up shooters like Kuz, like Brad, like Will. It's going to open up the pick and roll. There's a lot of possibilities. Push the tempo. And finally, defense. I'm going to say it again. Defense, defense, defense. Transition defense, paint defense, perimeter defense, defense as a team, defensive communication. We need to show up the defense for us to be successful in this Eastern Conference, which, as you know, is a loaded conference. This conference is no joke. There, you can easily go through the first 10 teams and maybe not even find the Wizards. That's how deep the Eastern Conference is. How do we get to where we want to be? Defense. It takes defense. We have to, and with a lot of these mishaps, whether it was transition in the paint, has a lot to do with communication. You saw players not in the right position. People weren't communicating. Defensive communication has to get better with this team. Has to get better. And I'm gonna roll through my list again. Again, my 4 keys to victory against the Chicago Bulls. 1, ball movement. Ball movement. Push the ball, find open shooters. 2, 3-point shooting. Maintaining 3-point shooting. 35%, while it's not crazy, is around average. So just keep it rolling, people. Pushing the tempo. Monte, push the tempo. Hey, let's get down this court fast. Let's catch this defense off balance. That's how you beat a defensive team like the Chicago Bulls. And 4, defense. Defense, defense, defense. All areas of defense. We have to be better on that. We did decent, but there were still mishaps against the Indiana Pacers. And then that fourth quarter, my God, it was horrendous. And I'm gonna go ahead and add that as another key to victory. Play from whistle to whistle. From the moment the game starts to the moment the game ends, have that dog mentality. You want to destroy teams. That is a goal. We want to embarrass people. That should be the mind frame. So those 5 keys to victory, or my keys of victory for a win against the Chicago Bulls. Opening night, Capital One, Friday night. So before we roll, per Chris Miller, DeLon Wright won Defensive Player of the Game against the Indiana Pacers. What are my thoughts on that? Well, much deserved. DeLon Wright has shown that he can play at a high level on the defensive end. Very above average 3-point shooter. His defensive presence has been very, very, very impressive. He's all over the place. He's in people's face. DeLon Wright. So it's much deserved. Much, much deserved. So, again, thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. First time see me solo. Definitely let me know how I did. Big shout out to Ed. Enjoy your night out. Again, thanks for tuning in tonight. Now, thanks for making Locked On Wizards your first listen today. Now make your second listen Locked On NBA. The NBA season is here, and our local NBA experts and insiders have you covered on and off the court all season long. All the biggest stories around the NBA every Monday through Friday in less than 30 minutes. Available on YouTube, Odyssey, and wherever you get podcasts. Like, subscribe, and hit me and Ed on Twitter/Instagram. Again, thank you for tuning in tonight. Everybody have a good night, and please show some support Friday night. Let's get this dub at home. Everybody have a good night. Peace.